Valorant has a problem. Nobody wants to play controller. Controller is the least popular role in Valorant, while ironically being the most important. If you've ever queued up for ranked, you often run into a scenario where half your team instant locks duelists, and the rest are left trying to decide who should fill in smokes, or essentially, who gets the short straw. This is backed up by not only personal experience, but also data. If you look at vstats.gg, you can see that controller is the least popular role, basically in every ranked bracket, until you hit Immortal Plus, where the role popularity finally starts to balance out. Riot recognizes this as a problem. I mean, if you've ever played matches without smokes, it's rough. Doable, but rough. It's a really weird phenomenon because controllers are actually really strong. In pro play, teams often run 2 controllers, with Viper being considered one of the strongest agents in the game.
Viper is just OP. Viper is used on like basically every map. They should nerf Viper because she's a big part of the game right now.
So what's the problem? Well, for the rest of us plebs playing ranked, controller isn't the easiest thing to play. Smokes are considered a neutral form of utility, something that benefits and harms both teams equally unless used with specific intention. Smokes require a lot of out-of-game prep and map knowledge to even start using properly. On top of that, you also need good communication and coordination with your team to start really extracting good value out of smokes. Controllers need a lot of effort to put in for not a lot of solo agency that they get out. And for a lot of people, that's just not fun. So what's Riot's answer to this problem? Well, it seems they're a small Scottish trickster with a lot of flair. Valorant's new agent, Clove. Clove is a new controller agent in Valorant who's designed to give another option to players that like playing aggressively, and that want to have solo agency so that they might enjoy and be more inclined to play smokes. Clove has been highly anticipated in the Valorant community. Over the years, the agent Smoke Dancer has been teased and anticipated in the Valorant community. On March 24th, Smoke Dancer was finally revealed as Clove, the new controller for Valorant. Clove's kit is relatively straightforward. If you haven't played much Valorant at all, it won't take long to understand their kit. But if you're experienced and have played a lot of different agents, then Clove's kit will be really easy to draw parallels and pick up. Here's a quick overview of Clove's abilities. Pick Me Up. This is Clove's C ability. You can activate it after getting a kill or takedown, and it gives you an overhealed shield and a speed boost for a short duration. Metal. This is Clove's Q ability. It's a projectile that explodes after a short time, and it deals with a substantial amount of decay damage for a short duration. Ruse. This is Clove's E ability that's also their signature. They are hollow dome smokes that have a unique attribute that allows you to recharge and still use them even after you die. Not dead yet. This is Clove's ultimate, and it's a self-resurrection, with the caveat being that if you don't get a takedown within a decent time frame, then you'll go back to being dead. Like I said earlier, all of Clove's abilities are pretty similar to other agents' abilities in some way, so it's easy to understand and use at a base level, but they do have differences and nuances that create unique pros and cons. So let's take a closer look. Pick Me Up is most similar to Reyna's Devour in a lot of ways. Once Clove gets a takedown, they can activate Pick Me Up to gain a speed boost and an overheal for a short duration. However, there are some differences. So if Clove drops to 40 HP and then uses Pick Me Up, they'll drop back down to 40 HP after the buff runs out. Reyna's Devour, on the other hand, heals Reyna's normal health first, then gives an overheal. This means that she has a lot more wiggle room, even if she doesn't fight immediately after healing. Pick Me Up's buffs also seem to last a much shorter duration than Reyna's Devour. I believe Reyna's Devour lasts 30 seconds versus the 12 seconds of buff duration on Pick Me Up. Overall, the ability seems really strong and incentivizes Clove to play extremely aggressively before and after getting the frag. The next ability I want to talk about is Metal. If this ability hits you, it applies a 90 HP decay. The decay does not discriminate against allies or enemies. If it hits somebody, it will decay them, including yourself. Metal is another aggressive ability, but I think personally, it's going to be very frustrating to use at first. Metal has a center core to its radius, and if that core does not have a perfect line of sight with the character, then Metal will not affect them. There's a lot of maps that have tiny elevation shifts and little rocks and boxes and stairs, and more that will block this move from working when it should. The most reliable way to use this ability will be figuring out how to get it to detonate in the air. This way, it will avoid a lot of the annoying geometry. If anyone plays a lot of Deadlock, they will definitely understand the pain of this mechanic firsthand with her ultimate. Pair that with a relatively slow detonation time, and I think this ability, although not relatively the hardest ability in Valorant to use, it'll be comparatively Clove's most difficult ability to find consistent value with. So, Clove's E, Ruse. They're basically Omen Dome Smokes with a Brimstone twist. Clove smokes regenerate like Omen smokes, and they're hollow like Omen smokes, but you place them down like Brimstone smokes. Ruse also has the shortest duration out of all the other controller smokes, and they're on the smaller side when it comes to size. But what makes Clove smokes stand out from other controllers are that you can still place them down and regenerate them even after you die. Although the range is not global like Omen smokes, being able to play smokes after you die allows you to always have an advantage over the other team given equal circumstances. I think this unique aspect, coupled with all the other aggressive aspects of Clove's kit, makes them a really attractive and fun option for people to try out or just fill in as smokes as a controller for their team. If you like to play entry but need to fill smokes for your team, Clove's ultimate allows them to resurrect themselves for 12 seconds after they die. If they score a takedown within those 12 seconds, then they get to stick around for the rest of the round. Not Dead Yet is a super cool ability, but it has a little bit of nuance to it. If you're entrying for a site, die, and immediately get traded by your teammates, then you might not find another enemy to kill before the timer runs out. If you take a long-range duel and die, like on Breeze, then the enemy might not re-peek you, so it would take you way too long to cross over and find a fight, and you'll just eventually die again. If you're too close to multiple enemies when you die, then it might be hard to find a safe spot to res yourself before getting pushed and immediately killed again. Enemies will eventually start treating Clove's ultimate like a Phoenix ult, but even if you don't end up getting a kill after ulting, Clove will still apply a lot of pressure and take a lot of space for their team in the process. So how popular is Clove actually going to be? Comparatively to the other roles, Clove probably won't be as popular as Reyna and Jett, but against other controller agents, I think Clove aims to finally rival Omen in popularity and desire to be played. They're easy to pick up, they reward aggression, and they're forgiving when dying or making mistakes, while also being really aesthetically pleasing. Honestly, they have one of the coolest contracts. The sprays are nice, they have a cool gun buddy, I really like their player card, and they have one of the only few animated gun skins. With that being said, yeah, they look fun, but how good is Clove going to be in ranked? I'm pretty confident Clove will eventually be the go-to controller in ranked for most elos. Compared to other controllers, Clove doesn't require nearly as much coordination to get full value out of their kit. They also have a lot of agency when on their own, and they're not difficult to pick up or play. Some of the factors that make them easy to pick up are also the same reasons why they thrive in a chaotic solo queue environment. The addition of the self-revive and self-heal also rewards players with high micro-mechanical skill, while also having smokes in their kit inherently allows for skill expression in the macro aspects of the game. This means Clove has a low skill floor, while also rewarding improvement in both the macro and micro aspects of the game. Lower elos will appreciate the accessibility and forgiving nature of the agent, while skilled players will appreciate the rewards earned from winning duels and being better than their opponents. In pro play, I think Clove won't be as welcome compared to ranked. Because of how fun Clove is to play though, I think there will be a desire from players and teams to try to fit them into the meta, but I'm not sure they'll really have a place in the meta over their peers.
Hey, liking Clove? Probably not probably. Clove is my most favorite character right now in the game.
Clove doesn't have the utility to replace Sentinels, so that's out of the question. Although they are very much rewarding for being first in line for a retake and entry, they also don't quite have the catalytic utility of an initiator or a duelist when it comes to actually creating space on sites. They simply don't have the utility like dashes, flashes, stuns, etc. to do that. So really Clove is competing with other controllers or flex slots, and that weird spot on Icebox for teams that don't run a duelist. So how does Clove compare to other primary controllers? Primary controllers are usually like Omen, Brimstone, or sometimes Astra. Omen being the most common. Brimstone is very explosive. He can drop 3 smokes immediately and stem his team out for a fast take. Molly can also help with taking space, delaying teams flooding in, or securing the round after a post plant. Brim also doesn't have any rechargeable utility, which lends to his extremely aggressive leaning nature. Omen on the other hand is more balanced. He can certainly make hard and fast plays with his flash and his teleport, but it's not necessarily as explosive as Brimstone. Omen makes up with this with much more flexibility. His smokes recharge, which allow him for a more default heavy playstyle. His teleport gives him access to verticality and allows him to play riskier spots while still having access to an escape route. Out of the two, Clove is somewhere in between Omen and Brimstone. They're definitely aggressive leaning, but don't have nearly the explosiveness that Brimstone offers, nor the flexibility and versatility that Omen offers. Clove gives all those traits up for self-sufficiency. Mostly, I think Clove will challenge Omen for a spot on the team compositions, but I don't see how they edge out Omen. Dropping Omen's teleport and flash for Clove's self-heal and decay doesn't seem like a great trade-off or team perspective. Clove could combo metal with utility like shock darts for like easy kills, but it doesn't seem as versatile and reliable as Omen Paranoia plays with mobility duelists like Jet or Raids. Also, metal will explode no matter what after 1.1 seconds, so you can't do very long lineups with it either. Now you do get access to Clove's smokes even after death, which I haven't been mentioning too much. Always having access to your smokes on small maps like Split give you a lot of flexibility in the mid round or post plant even if you lose your controller early. It's a powerful perk that incentivizes Cloak to have a team that sets them up to push aggressively, to get rewarded for winning duels while still being able to do their job if they die. As a flex slot in a double controller composition, I can't see Clove beating out Viper either. Viper offers so much flexibility in a team composition, both aggressively and defensively. Stalling and anchoring sites with snake bites, breaking utility and secure post plants with mollies, denying info and lurking with her wall. Viper just offers so much versatility that seems to overshadow Clove's niche in the light of challenging as a second controller. Clove doesn't seem to benefit much from lurking as much as other agents either. Their ult doesn't work if they are the last one to die, unless they're on attack and the spike is down. And their heal really rewards winning a fight and quickly taking another one before the buff runs out. Much like Brimstone, Clove's smokes are limited to a radius around themselves, so they can't help their team across the map if they want to lurk all the way on B when their team is on A. I think I could see something like Clove plus Viper on Icebox. Icebox is all about getting the spike down and playing post plants, or denying the plant entirely if you're on defense. You don't quite need a movement duelist on Icebox, so Clove can provide that entry frag while still providing utility after they die, which seems really nice on Icebox. Overall, I see Clove to be more popular in Ranked, while seeing some occasional play in pro teams for teams that really like them. Am I underestimating Clove's potential to pop off and their utility after death? Maybe you think Metal's Decay has a lot of potential when combined with other agents that I'm just not seeing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.